welcome everybody to the It Couple. I am your host, Dan St. Germain, here with my wife, SJ, Sarah
SJ, Sarah Jo.
Go back on what you want to be called on this
Professionally, I go by SJ. And
How about
so
T-Bone?
T-Bone.
Oh.
Skank.
Oh,
Slut.
Skank slut. That's every time I did morning radio, there would be like, here's a trash head and the bitch. It's like, we're here with one of my best friends in the whole world. He's hilarious. He's my old podcast co-host, My Dumb Friends, but he's also been on Conan, David Letterman, and Tonight Show recently. He's done all the late nights. And Colbert.
Yes.
You have 4.
Yes.
Wow.
4, the Mount Rushmore.
The Mount Rushmore of late nights. Yes,
Yeah.
that's my claim to fame. And it did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to include
never
that part.
do. They
I was
never
trying to
do.
build you up.
I know, I appreciate it.
I didn't include
I
and he's
cannot-
looking for other jobs.
Wait, did you do Letterman?
Yeah, he did
You did Letterman.
I did Letterman in 2013.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
That's the one that like
That's like a big
that's one
deal.
like I nut over like because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that would have been cool to do that one.
For
That
sure.
one is also the one I was the most shocked. Like that, I was freaking
Yeah.
out when I did not think it was gonna. I think I cursed during the audition. I was like, they're not gonna pick me for this. And
Yeah.
then just by hook or by crook, as Ellen Donnelly would say. Yeah, I got it. It was crazy.
Your mom sounds like a little rascal by saying
Hooker by crook? Is that what
a
she
little
says?
pickpocketer in the
well,
1800s.
Yeah, we'll get there by hook or by crook. It's like my mom has all these old
love
sayings.
Well, Sean's not a big horror movie fan, but he picked The Purge because you're a big fan of The Purge. Purge is one of those action horror. It straddles both lines. I think it's probably more horror in the beginning, and now it's more action. It kind of went like through the franchise. This is the first one. It's directed by
James
who
DeMonaco?
also wrote the Robin Williams movie Jack, which is a crazy. It would be hilarious to see because Cosby's the therapist in that. It would be hilarious to see Cosby in The Purge. Oh, these
Wait a
kids!
minute. Bill Cosby's in Jack?
Yeah, he's in
You,
Jack. He's
you
the
gotta
therapist.
see maybe that his like disillusionment with Hollywood, and that's where he got to. At first, he's like, it's a guy who acts like a kid in a movie, and then he's like, fuck the world.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's such an interesting trajectory. Like we did The Shining with Alana Glazer, and it's the opposite thing where the woman who helped Kubrick write that then ended up writing The Divorce with like Naomi Watts. It's like a rom-com.
Oh,
like
no, I
later
didn't
on.
saw it. Oh my
No, I haven't either. But
Yeah.
it's a very and now for something completely different. It's like finding out the guy who wrote 12 Years a Slave used to be a host at the comic strip.
No, but who's the one that wrote Undercover Brother? Is that
He
the
wrote
one?
Undercover Brother, but he was a host of the comic strip. And
I love it.
He has the fun, like he's kind of bizarre.
We do deep dives on this. I don't know if you know. We do a lot of
John Ridley,
Wikipedia,
but
a lot of IMDb.
They asked him about his when he was getting nominated, for his Oscar run. They asked him about his comedy career, and he's like, "It's just it's a time in my life I don't talk about anymore."
Wait, who's this?
John Ridley,
He
the guy who
sounds
wrote
like
12
you
Years
over
a Slave.
COVID. Like you, when
Yeah,
you
when I
would,
quit comedy for 2
reflect
years.
and wanted to be a
he
nurse.
literally talks about it like it was like the plane crash in Alive or something. But yeah, this is Platinum Duns. This put Blumhouse on the map, and the reason it did, it made $90 million after costing $3 million. Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones as James and Mary Sadlin. Max Burkholder and Adelaide Kane as Charlie and Zoe Sadlin. The Bloody Stranger, our main villain, is Edwin Hodge.
No,
I'm
he's
sorry.
not-
I'm sorry. The Bloody
he's a
Stranger
hero.
is the former vet guy.
Right.
Who has real
Rhys
Army
Wake-
Hammer vibes?
Wait, no,
Oh,
that's
no,
the
that's-
other.
that's
That's
the other
Rhys
guy,
yeah.
Wakefield as the polite leader.
Yep.
And then there's a bunch of people playing
Yeah.
Suburban.
And
But
like
yeah,
I said
why'd you pick
before,
this movie?
Yeah,
Why? Because you're not a horror fan. Why are you attracted to The Purge?
Because you know what is? I realized this. I don't mind thrillerish type suspenseful movies. I actually dig it. Like Get
Yeah.
Out, I dig. It's it's like kind of comedy.
But that's more horror, I think, than this, right?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I realize I don't like gore. Or I won't like things that people like. It fucks you up as a human. So like I
Yeah.
won't watch like Midsommar or like the other one.
Oh, Hereditary,
Or Hereditary.
which we talked
You
about.
made that movie sound fancier than it is. I think it's Midsummer.
It's like a wine.
Midsommar. It's a great year.
But so like things like this, I actually do like not apocalyptic, whatever you would call it, like
Futuristic, like a
Like
Do
futuristic.
you like Last
yeah.
of Us? Like as far as
the
apocalypse?
show.
Yeah.
The show I watched and I liked it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. I like zombie stuff as well.
Because zombies like kind of straddles the action thing again.
It totally does, and I like the idea of it, and I've always liked that genre more. But when it comes to like
You don't
straight
like a
up gore,
psychological thriller.
a really hardcore psychological one, or like a thing that just came out with that clown. As I look at the clown, that one that was like
Terrifier.
Oh,
you
the
would hate.
Terrifier. I
You would
love
fucking
that.
hate
I heard it's brutal.
Oh my god, it's
Dude, you
so
can't- no, you would hate it.
gratuitous. Like the blood
Sarah
in that
liked
one.
it, I think, more than me.
fucking loved it. I'm weird. I like the gore because to me it reminds me like, well, this is not real,
Unless it's
right?
an animal.
But that's the reason why. Another reason why I wouldn't like two things. I think if it was so much blood and gore, I would
don't
be
know,
like,
man.
it's too much. I realize it's fake, but
Yeah.
also that's another reason it takes me out of it. You know
There's
what I mean?
some
Like,
violence in
yeah.
Terrifier that's like, it's kind of real.
It's
like,
insane,
by
yeah.
how like brutal it gets.
Well,
Like,
I'm such
Which
a
I
pussy.
love.
I won't even watch Human Centipede, and I've had people tell me for years how much it's not that big of a deal, and I'm like, it is.
It's gross.
The plot.
You would hate it.
The
I've never
plot
seen that.
is.
no, Sean won't eat ethnic food. He's not gonna. He's not gonna watch a fucking movie where a guy's hooked up to another asshole with his mouth. It's just not gonna happen. The guy won't try chicken tikka masala.
I want to eat sauce.
You know?
I don't fuck with sauces.
Yeah, let alone some guy shitting into another mouth. But
Is that what it's about?
dude, they got hooked up butt to asshole.
It's an
No,
operation.
that's a real thing. A butt to
Head-
mouth. Butt to mouth.
Okay, I need to watch that.
I need to watch that.
It's real hot.
So we're starting
gonna
the
start the
movie,
movie,
right?
yeah.
And we have Ethan Hawke.
Yes.
So it begins with. Now this took place in 2022.
So a year ago, but in the time was the future because this was made in 2013.
Right.
And they have the founding fathers.
Who's the new political
Yeah,
party?
They're so like they're talking about American 22, unemployment's at 1%. Violence barely exists, and this is all because they have a purge night.
Once a year, 12 hours long.
Where you're allowed to kill and do every crime, I guess, loot and do whatever the fuck you want.
And all emergency services are suspended during that time, so you can just wreak havoc, and it's your God-given right as an American.
And also, Ethan Hawke has like cashed in on the purge because he's like a hardcore home security salesman, and he's like doing very well. And he's affluent, and
My thing with this movie, I think this would have been better as like the third one, not the first one. I
Yeah.
feel like the first one
Oh,
should have been outside.
I think. Well, no. Here's the thing. We talked about Blumhouse, and
Yeah.
and like I said before to you, it's like the Iron Man of Blumhouse. First off, whenever they do these things, I don't think they knew it was going to become what it became, but it has to be a simple story. It's all money. It's all logistics. You keep it just in the house. It costs them what? How much was it? $3 million to
$3
make
million.
it.
Yeah.
You put it
And-
outside.
and-
That's $10 million.
And Ethan Hawke got $2 million.
you know that
so the
for
whole
sure?
thing. Oh, that's what I read. I mean,
That's
what I read.
insane.
So he got like 60% of the budget.
So there you go. So
Yeah.
Maybe
so
he got back end too, though. Like,
Probably.
maybe
he
that
did
was-
get back in because
He
I heard
had
him
to.
on an interview talking about it. But like.
Yeah.
As he was smiling.
Yeah,
here.
exactly. But and also I think it kind of helped his career a lot because I think he was also kind of out and he was. So the thing about it
he
is,
was always going to be an indie darling, but I think that helped him get back into
Yeah, I
the
like kind of like
mainstream
that
more.
he's taken this like as an adult, like more of an adult, like he did Black Phone. So he's like
He's
getting
one of
more
these
into
guys
like
who
the.
gets better as he gets older.
What was the one that
actually.
you love that he did?
I mean, I love Boyhood, and I love the Before Sunrise movies. I
No,
love
no,
those
no. The one
movies.
about it's like an environmental.
First Reformed.
Oh, First Reform.
Yes,
I
that
love
one's
that movie.
fantastic. He's so good. So
Totally
he's a
ignored
great
by the
actor. And
Oscars.
so we know. Okay, so that's a.
he's in Gattaca. He's great in Gattaca.
Great
like
in
he's,
Gattaca.
it's Gattaca's amazing.
Gore Vidal's in it, who like is hilarious because he can only be Gore Vidal. So he's like, we need to build a rocket.
But I think as far as this movie goes, there's two reasons I think you do movies where it's encapsulated in like one location. One is if you're starting off something that's going to be like Iron Man's huge. I'm not saying it's Iron Man, but I'm saying like if you're starting off the first, and that's why they do the background stories for like the Spider-Mans or whatever
Yeah.
it is. So you need one solitary story. And I think the other reason is like if you are like X-Men and then you do the Logan and then you're like, oh, we're going to bring it down to a simpler version and an R-rated simpler version. That's so badass to me. I think that's so awesome.
Right.
So that's why I like this one the best because I'm like, oh, this is like this is the purest.
It's
this
also
is the purest
cheaper.
form of this purge thing.
I was not as I was really looking forward.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I guess I was really like because I'd seen this in the theater, I believe, and I was really looking forward to it, but I was just kind of like I wanted them to do more at the premise, which they end up doing later on in other movies. But I think that's my disappointment. But it's a fun. I mean, I think about horror movies, man. They're fun to watch, whether all the time unless they're boring. I
There
think
were a couple things though in this one that immediately threw me off. That I was first of all, Ethan Hawke in this. I keep thinking he's going to be the villain because he's so.
Oh, he could
like,
turn.
Put together.
he's like, and he's also like he's like kind of like he's kind of wormy.
Yeah, he's weaselly.
And also,
you're
you
like,
already
where does
know
this
him,
come from?
so you're like, it's got to be more complicated than he's just the dad that tries to protect the
and
family.
you're like,
Yeah.
is he going to be someone who kills? And so when the movie starts and he's driving through the beautiful gated community, we see all the signs of like what the Purge is, because at this point,
And we also
viewers
were
don't know what
finding
it
out
was.
that a lot of people in his neighborhood have bought his security system.
Yes.
Which you
yes.
find out from one of the neighbors who kind of makes this half joke where she says to the wife, played by Lena Headey, that, oh, well, you guys really reaped the rewards from the Purge. And they did. And he did have a sick fucking system set up.
And they even imply that they did not have the money before they implied that it's like this is new to them.
Right.
Like, they're new money.
They're
Like,
new money.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have this. So when
Which also sets them apart class-wise from the rest of the neighbors, which is also, I wanted to tell you, I just realized this. My girlfriend tells me that I have an issue with rich people. Like she thinks I really do have an issue with rich people.
I do too. I want to be them. I'm obsessed with them. That's mine.
But I realized this. I think that's an aspect of these movies is the idea of taking down.
Do you think it's because you grew up so close to Garden City?
Yes, 100%. I grew up in Stewart Manor, which is basically Garden City.
It's beautiful, by the way.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a rich town, but it's not the richest town in Long Island. Mm-mm. But it's the one closest to the city,
upper
probably
middle.
Yeah, upper middle, and then some upper. We had Snob. It's so funny. Even in there, you had Snob.
And also,
Hill.
like, even
Same with
though
Northport.
you're in a
It's
good
like the
neighborhood, you're a low capita in that neighborhood, so you have resentment.
Well, I
as a kid.
literally am in an area called Stewart Manor. I grew up in an area that is where the people who built Garden City lived while they were building Garden City. So my whole 6-block town was the servants' quarters for the construction of Garden City.
That's hilarious.
So it's like, that's why I think
That
I had this
explains.
weird
Yeah.
chip on my shoulder about it, which
Sure.
I shouldn't. It's like it's such bullshit. But I think the dynamic here that I love is that these people who are involved in the Purge are going to get their comeuppance at some point, and that's another reason why I love this one, because it's like
Eat the
purest
rich,
form of
bro.
that. Yeah, eat the rich. Yeah.
Do you
Punk
mean
rock,
you want?
bro.
Okay, so like his daughter, when we meet the family,
Sean doesn't eat anything but the rich. Chicken fingers and the rich.
with ketchup. That's it.
With ketchup.
So we meet the daughter. This is where you kind of lost me, and Dan knows this because we were watching it. Throughout the whole movie, why doesn't she change out of her fucking Catholic school uniform? Do you know,
I can
first
tell you
of all,
why.
I know exactly why. But like, put on a pair of sweatpants. It's like you're home with your family.
No, her ass is almost like out the whole
And her
time.
tits are down, and she's got like the shirt open, and I'm like, I get it, but she's supposed to be 17. I
Yeah.
think the actress was probably like
She was
24,
like
25.
23 or something. Yeah.
It just, to me, and
I
she's
checked
like,
to make sure I didn't feel like a creep.
you always do that though. He's always like, oh, how old is
Well, you don't want to it's like she's Sydney Sweeney, and you're like, oh, she's supposed to be a high schooler? Jesus.
Yeah, he's like, she's 16 in real life.
You can make the argument that it's like, hey, one shit went down. Maybe she was gonna, and one shit went down.
She
didn't
never
have any
was.
time to do it.
I think she still had her shoes on. Like, I'm like, bitch, take off those
She had a tiny
high-heel
backpack
booties.
on.
Yeah, she's like
Little,
got one of those cat hair, cat ears and shit.
So she's in her room. He gets home. She's fucking around with this guy, her boyfriend, and he escapes because the Purge is about to start and the father can't see him. And before Ethan Hawke puts the surveillance system together and on with all these monitors where you can see the neighborhood, this kid hops out the window, but he hops back in. So he slides in under the radar.
Yeah.
And so he's undetected, and now he's in the house while they're on lockdown with the daughter.
And I don't know if you want to get. I'm sure you don't want to get to it yet, but there's a thing that happens with him that this is the only thing that makes no sense in the movie to me. What he does later on with the dad, which
He's also in a Catholic
Well, it's almost a
school
separate.
uniform.
Well, it's a weird separate movie.
because it's
Like,
singing Britney Spears.
we'll just say it. We can jump around a little, but like what he does later on is he comes back in so he can kill the dad.
Which
so
they
he can
don't
be with
set
the
that up
girl.
enough. That's the one complaint
No.
I have. They do not set that up.
No,
They probably
it's so
did have
random.
something else. They must have had something else involved in that storyline because the movie's
Yeah.
really. I think it's 90 minutes, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
It's nice and quick. We like that. No, he does say something to the daughter like, I need to address your father. I'm back here because I want to talk to him about our relationship. 'Cause
There's an age gap.
how old
What,
was
he's
he?
18, she's like 15 or
No.
16 or something?
She's like
I
17.
don't know if they say exactly.
I feel like you're right. I feel like he's 19 or 20.
He seems like he's in college.
He's in college and she's in high school.
It's still not enough. You have to
No.
be like 30 in order to make it sense that he's like, I have to
mean,
kill the dad.
yeah.
There's also it's
Yeah.
the thing where it's like it's not like the dad's normally that would be like the
it's not
dad's a
like- it's not
tyrant,
like he's
and that's
an older guy.
a B plot.
He's not
in the
an
movie.
older
no,
guy.
He looks like
Yeah.
he's probably.
They look the same age.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not that creepy, but then it's weird when you hear about it. So then, he's in this house. The purge is going on. The family is safe. They're like having dinner. Like it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Like they're living their life in their beautiful mansion. Like people are not being murdered outside these gates.
Right.
And so the son, Charlie, who's a sweetheart,
Who's in Parenthood? The show Parenthood is the autistic kid who's into
he's
bugs.
great. And
Also,
so
very hard. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt
no,
you,
no,
but
please,
very
keep
hard to cast the cute kids that work out and roll. Like,
Yeah.
how many times are kids too precocious or too corny that you're like, I don't.
there's always
believe
that
it.
blend. You have to make sure when you're casting kids that the parents are, and this is just like a note to stage parents. Like we also audition the parents because you come on set with that kid. Or
Yeah.
at least I do. So like if I see a parent who's amazing and their kid's great, hell yeah, we're gonna put them through to
Oh, that's
producers.
interesting.
But if there's a parent that is a pain in the ass, I have a no assholes policy. And so even with adult actors, I do this. But if a kid is clearly doesn't want to be there, how are you going to show up on set and
Right.
act if you don't
Yeah.
even want to be at the audition?
Yeah.
And so this kid is great. Obviously, he's a pro. He's done television. A child actor. He's smart.
He's probably like 35.
He's probably out of the business now, which is why he's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck this. I'm going to be a scientist. And so he's great. So he has, compassion for this gentleman who's outside, this homeless vet.
Yeah, so out of nowhere,
Yeah.
they start hearing like, cries for help on the cameras.
And there's
Once
definitely
the
some-
purge happens.
There's
Yep.
some Rachel overtones because the guy who's getting attacked is black, and then everybody who's chasing him is white.
White. So stupid, those masks. Fucking hate.
They're so creepy.
I hate them. I hate the Manson girls. I was telling Dan, I'm like, I hate things.
I think that's
where
the
girls-
problem. My problem is like they took. Like, it's like they didn't know what was like. Is this Manson? Is this like Heath Ledger and the Joker? Like I didn't know the whole modus operandi for the bad guys. I guess.
They're bad and they wear masks. And
Well, I think
that's
they're supposed to be like
A
just
cult?
almost like the Winkelvoss twin.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be like it's privilege versus
Did
non-privilege.
they murder someone in the Winklevoss? I don't understand.
I'm just saying like that.
I'm sure we
vibe.
don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure if they did, we
I mean,
wouldn't
like
know.
that affluent, finance
Upper
douche.
crust.
Yeah, vibe.
the
Yeah.
very people that Sean hates. These
Yes,
are the
exactly.
guys.
Yeah, pretty much.
They went to Chaminade.
They played lacrosse. Yeah, exactly.
So
This clan. So
the
basically,
vet.
the vet and the intruder is in the house.
The kid lets him in.
The son lets him in, and this cult or this group of Winkelvoss twins come by, basically telling Ethan Hawke and the family, "Look, give us the intruder, and we're not going to kill you. We just want to kill him because he's a swine. He's a homeless drag to society, even though he's a
Right.
vet." Blah, they're hitting you with the themes
because
over
at
the
this
head
point,
here.
what the
Trying to make them
Purge-
as evil as possible.
Right, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Purge
for
is
sure.
there. The founding fathers of America created this to sort of wipe out the crime, to wipe out all
Poor.
the quote unquote poor bad people bringing the country down.
Right. They beat you over the head with it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot. And even the way the guys are dressed. I'm like, I got it. They're Republicans. We got it. Like, I get it. Like,
So that's why I was saying making Ethan Hawke that's a really brilliant putting it in that like they weren't always rich, now they're rich.
Yeah.
Because it makes them just inherently one of the good guys.
Yeah, they have him like look at like boats. Like we can afford a boat now. So you're like, oh, I don't care if Ethan Hawke dies. You can buy a boat. I can't root for you anymore.
you get jealous over people owning boats?
No,
I
it's
could
just
never
the most
see you on a boat.
dispensable- I mean, I understand if you get like a little dinghy because you want to go like on the lake
Sure,
or
let's
something.
buy a dinghy. I would buy
But
it.
no, if you're buying like like one of those like
Like a speedboat?
a Jeff Bezos hot fuck boats, like those kind of things,
I
or
would
even
love
like a yacht to
would
send
you
the
would you
Mediterranean.
carve my body out like he did for that woman that he's engaged to?
He did
on
that.
his
What,
boat.
for the front of the boat?
The front of the boat. It's like
He's
her
such
body.
a cornball.
He is such
Would
a
you do that for-
cornball.
No, it'd be Goldie.
You would
no, it'd be Goldie. Yeah.
You would leave him immediately if he did that. You'd be like, "What the
She would
fuck
probably
is
like
your
it.
problem?"
I couldn't even spend a date.
Yeah, I mean this the rest of the movie, it's just different cat and mouse games.
Yeah.
It's Ethan Hawke's character, which we said in the beginning that we don't have it. I don't have
James.
James, like trying to find this intruder, and then they get the intruder, and they kind of start torturing him, and that reminds them of their own humanity. Of like, we can't do it, but then the intruder volunteers, like, hey, he's showing he's a soldier. I'll go out there for you. They refuse. Eventually, these guys, the happy wanderer or whatever the fuck his name is, the polite intruder or whatever the guy, polite leader, they come in. It's a total fucking bloodbath.
Before this, I'm so sorry. Before this, we don't know if this homeless vet is actually going to hurt them. You really don't know yet because he disappears. And then they want him. And while this is all happening, when he first gets there, Ethan Hawke, holds him hostage. And then that's when the boy comes down, the boyfriend, and shoots him.
Yes.
Goes to shoot Ethan Hawke, but
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke ends up killing the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
meanwhile,
which is
she's still in her fucking schoolgirl
Oh,
uniform.
Which is the weird. That one thing
Put
with the
a
boyfriend is
jacket
the one
on.
thing you didn't need it.
The rest of it
That's
is just
that's
like
trying to ramp up the amount of
that's
villains
what I
versus
agree.
this
heroes.
is how they wrap it up, which is like he's like, did you know that he was going to kill me? No, I don't. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That was it. That's how they wrap the whole thing up. It's just him going like, all right, I believe you, and then they don't mention the dead boyfriend anymore.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was like that's why I feel like if this was going to be 2 hours, there would have been There would have been more. It would have been more of their friction. It would have made more sense, and
Yes.
it would have ramped it up. But they did the right thing, making this an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think if it was a really bad movie, you could have just had an A plot the whole way through, which is you don't even need the vet, and these are just these weirdos, these psychos, just trying to get into the house.
Yeah,
They
then
just
it's
want to
the
kill
strangers.
rich people, kill the rich.
Which is
But then
kinda-
there's no. But then that's
no
it's kind of
stakes.
nothing. It's
And also,
like
like,
whatever
then his
home
security
invasion thing.
system and the gates at the, then everyone's fucked in that community.
Right, exactly.
Right.
If they can get in. But yeah, so basically, I think adding the vet thing in there was smart. But then what they were, we need
Because you really
we need
only
one
feel
last
bad
thing to
for
make it-
homeless vets if you kill them. That's what the thing is. It's like, how do we make this even sadder? Like, this man's homeless and he's a vet. Like, it's
Oh
heartbreaking.
yeah, if he
you
was
want to see him live.
If he was an improv comedian, they wouldn't
Oh
let
my
him in.
God, are you kidding?
No
He's,
way.
he's yes ending the purge.
Yeah, he's just the curse.
Zip zap zopping.
But no, so I think that's why I think it's so. I think the simplicity of it is why it's so good, and I think they do a good job. I think it's very hard to do the idea where it's like you said, the cat and mouse thing. They do a good job filming it that way. They do a good job making it as suspenseful as it should be. So that's why I like this one so much better.
I never felt like for whatever reason I never felt suspense. I don't know.
Oh, I
I
did.
think
The first
it's
time I watched
contained
it,
in the
yeah.
home. I think anytime you have something that, like, people are in the house but you don't know where they are, like, for a minute as a viewer, you don't know if the vet is going to kill the family. You don't really know. Like,
Yeah.
And then you find out, well, he's a good guy, which is why they protect him. And then the guys come in, but then the neighbors,
Become the bad guys.
Become
That's
the
a great.
bad-
That's
which
a
is
great little
great twist
Yeah.
because now Ethan Hawke is dead because the head leader stabs him.
I think was it the leader stabs him or was it one of the people who come in? I think
Which
it's
is
No, it's
also-
not one of the neighbors.
it's one of the leaders, and then he's
Because
killed.
the neighbors kill all of the people, and then
they kill the rest of the invaders,
Right.
And then they're there to essentially kill the family for what they thought was like kind of screwing them on these security systems,
Right.
But the Ethan Hawke thing, even that for 2013, that's a great move as well. Like the main character, like they've had that pops up so much now because
Right.
but like back then, that when you first watch it, you don't think that's gonna happen.
No, you think he's going to live.
Of the movie, Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're like, there's no way he's going to survive this somehow. But when the neighbors come in, Lena Headey's like, "Oh my God, thank you guys so much," and they're like, "No, we're here to kill you."
By the way,
'Cause
Lena Headey looks phenomenal this
she's
whole movie.
Beautiful.
Is she the wife?
The
She's
the
wife.
wife.
Yeah. But also, the main blonde neighbor is super creepy and super
Grace?
scary.
And
Yes.
super
Grace.
hot too.
Super hot, but-
Dan loves a MILF, and it works so well for me as I get older. I'm like, ugh, thank God.
Love a MILF. I love a
Like, I
MILF.
feel like you'd rather hook up with her over the daughter. Well, the daughter.
You don't
was
want
in
I
high
don't
school,
want a high school girl for God's sakes.
Whoa.
Like I was like they're dressing her like this. She better be 23, and she
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. There's laws against that, Dan.
We looked it up.
There's more. Yeah.
Like,
But
there's
no, I honestly do believe that's what I mean. There's so many good beats that think about how many movies, because as they go on with these things, like you were talking about the election one,
Mm-hmm.
the second one becomes like paramilitary, has like Frank Grillo's in it.
Yeah.
And it
love
becomes
Frank
more about
Grillo.
like
He's
they have this
the
like
third
group
one,
of
too.
mercenaries and it's like Expendables, the Purge, like it's like which I get, and but also my favorite part of the second one is they go to the meetup of all the rich party, and then when they fuck them up, and that's what you need for these movies. You always need a point where it's like the wealthy versus the non-wealthy. That's what the
That's
main
why you
crux
like
of
this
these-
movie
I
because you
love
have
the
an issue with
first-
rich people.
Yes.
But there's a one that came. I think it's the fourth one in the series, and that's my favorite one. And it's called The First Purge, and it's like like it's basically all about like low income housing because it's like a low income housing group. Like it's that neighborhood, and there's only really one crazy guy in that neighborhood who your friend plays, who's like trying to murder everybody. But then after that, there's all these like essentially paramilitary racists who come in who are like trying to blame it on them, and it's like kind of like it's echoing kind of what's going on in this country now. But it's the best in my mind. That's the best one because it's the one that like follows up on the Purge promise the most,
right?
As far as like it getting because like what I love about Escape from New York and Escape from LA, even though people hated Escape from LA, it's like you really get to see lawlessness in these cities that you never would see, and that's what I like about the first Purge, where I'm like, oh, I get to see what like how lawless this would be
after the first one. Yes.
It gets better.
And I do agree that is a cool part to this, and that's what you want. I don't mind the you're talking about the masks. I think that's a cool, creepy thing to.
I feel like that's just such like what is the other film where, not Cabin in the Woods. There's the film where the couple it's Strangers. See, that worked for me. But
well, they're scarier than
the
reason that those are scarier is because. It's not a class thing because they're like, "Why are you doing this?" Because
it's just psychopaths.
We
they're
want
just
to.
psychopaths.
Because it's like, what are they? Because we were bored. Because you were home. That was it.
Right.
Like, why are you doing this? Because you were home. Like,
which is like the fucking scariest thing.
Yeah.
It's like dealing. But here's the thing. That's why. That's kind of proves my point. Like that's how simple Strangers is, and it works because it's that like. We're just trying to get in. And I think even with less plots.
There's this horrifying
with less cast,
movie.
with less everything.
Horrifying movie we watched last year, which I don't think I'd even watch for this podcast, which you would hate. I think it's just like this Danish, it's this foreign movie about this couple who meets this other couple. It's a well-made movie.
Wait, is this the son?
No, I know what you're talking about. I won't watch it.
Italy,
we watched that. We loved that movie.
Yeah, we loved it, but it's so fucked up.
I forget the name of it. They made an American remake with Michael, whatever his name is, Michael Pitt. Right? Didn't they?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Did they? Did? Or
Yeah.
well, basically the whole movie. Basically at the very end, there's like, "Why are you doing this to us?" It's because you let us. You know, like it's like that.
It's like that Clockwork Orange scene was just expanded. It's like that kind of
Clockwork
yeah.
Orange.
It's fucked.
That was like the first real horror movie that I was like, and I was in high school, and I'm like, I cannot watch this.
It's creepy.
I had to shut it off, and it was so disturbing.
It's very,
it's
very, and that's kind of the same. It's kind of the same vibe as this in a way, where it has that like, oh, I love the idea that I love the near future, not apocalyptic. What am I? Not Orwellian. Not Orwellian, but like whatever
it's
they
like
call that.
Dystopian.
Dystopian.
It's dystopian.
That dystopian, like that, like oh my
Orwellian
god,
too.
like 2022 isn't that far ahead. That adds to the vibe of the movie. It adds to the idea. It's like ooh, and then when you know the way politics are, especially even now, you're like ooh, this could
actually happen. I hate
this
to
could
say
happen
it, like
for sure.
This could happen because whoever would be in charge would justify it by saying, "Oh, well, look at all the crime is gone and unemployment is at a low." And
how hilarious would like
a
Trump Purge speech be though?
Oh my god,
I would fucking love
it.
He's like, the people that we're murdering, these aren't the best people. Okay, these aren't lawyers and doctors. These are murderers. These are rapists.
Okay.
This is Antifa.
Okay, so now we have the neighbors, right?
Yeah. So basically, the end of it is that she decides not. They get the upper hand of the neighbors. She decides not to kill them
Lena
for some
Headey.
civilization, even though she fucks her up with the butt of a gun,
Breaks
which is a
her
little
nose.
Rambo out of nowhere. Like Lena Headey all of a sudden. Hey, Spaventa?
You got to mention the homeless vet saves them.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course he's got to.
Which I forgot.
Then he just disappears. It would be hilarious if it was like he still got pulled over, like he left. And they're like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing in this neighborhood?"
They extend the
Like
purge.
Jamal. They're like, "My name's not Jamal."
Yeah, it's Pete.
But it was, it's a fun movie, man. I mean, it's not my favorite of the Purge, but I have some Purge questions.
Yes.
For Sean, what would your Purge plans be if you had a Purge?
If I instituted a purge?
What would be your? Would you just probably go to your mom and make sure she was all right? Apparently.
Yeah, I that's the thing. It's like I'm broke enough, and I'd be screwed. My whole family would be
that's the
screwed.
thing. I don't think
I'm not affording one of these security systems. So
No, I
yeah,
can't
I would
either.
just that's and it sounds like a very like cliche answer, but it's true. I'd probably just go to Long Island and hunker down. You know what's so funny is that's a good question because I just thought I'm like my mom lives in her apartment building now, but they're like solid walls in the apartment. I'm like trying to think
No, of
how it actually would go
course.
down in my head. I'm like, yeah, we could just like. Probably a basement you can hunker. Probably find
Yeah.
like a nuclear.
We have those
fallout
here.
basement. Yeah,
We have one in our building, and I think it's amazing.
I
So
think
I'm like,
there
well,
would be
that's where we'll go.
so many
with
more
the dogs.
deaths from people trying to go to a place and be protected and be like, no, this is my protection place.
Right.
Have they done that yet? Where it's we go camping because the purge is going on during the purge.
No, that'll be the
And then
next one,
somebody-
probably.
What do you mean you go
yeah.
camping? You mean they leave town?
They just go to a desolate place so there's
We
no
would do
people
that.
around.
We did that for COVID.
I feel like if I was single or just I didn't have a family, it would be easier to survive just because like you can literally find like a crawl space somewhere, be under there, and then no one's gonna do shit.
Well, here's the thing. A purge in New York City, what they're doing is it's supposed to be
It's California, it's LA.
And it would just even if you were single, you'd be just willy nilly. We kind of have that now. Like, it's like you kind of like
true.
we're just talking about people in Queens like just on a scooter randomly punching people. It's like that's a mini purge. It's a purge
Yeah.
in that person's
it
head.
is though.
What?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what's happening right now in New York City. That
And
it's just becoming
Exactly.
lawless in a way.
It's not as bad as it was in the 80s. It was like real purge type
Yeah.
scenario. But like the fact of the matter is like if you were single, you'd have to not venture into a spot where somebody's just like, hey, yeah, you're by yourself, but I'm willy nilly just gonna.
Yeah, no, you would have to find a place.
It's kind of like. I wonder if a strength in numbers thing would be better because you
It would,
need somebody. We need somebody who knows who has the spot that I can trust them and we lock down. And they're
Unfortunately,
not gonna sell me out.
my inner circle, besides Tom Lewis, isn't really into survivalism.
Oh, we need him. We were actually gonna ask Tom Lewis, a dear friend of ours that we love, who I'm convinced is a
Give me
survivalist, over
flowers
COVID to like teach us how to make a fire in the woods and like how to get Dan up a rock. You know what I mean? Like if he's injured, how do I bring him up there? Like
I think
Yeah.
you believe me.
I do. I mean, I do.
You're not like what like somehow like yeah.
Dan bought a sledgehammer over COVID.
He bought you a sledgehammer?
No, he bought a sledgehammer
to protect
and
us.
to protect us
John's laughing.
in the Berkshires.
He thinks he's Nick Cage and Mandy.
Wait, I feel like that's why you did it.
That's probably
We
why I
went
did.
to a hardware
It's
store and
so
he's like,
Dan.
I'm going to get like a hammer. He's like, I'm going to get a sledgehammer. And I don't even know where that fucking thing is. I think we threw it out. Like,
It's somewhere.
it was so stupid.
I-
We still have it.
You get an
probably in my
intruder. You're like, you have to be like, wait. Let me go get my sledgehammer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's
treat
like-
him. I'm gonna treat him like a Looney Tune.
Fucking, like, Uber
Two-frame
Eats
Roger
guy.
Rabbit?
Yeah, I'm
What
like,
would
no
you-
one's coming for us up here.
What would your purge outfit be? I have one for us.
Okay.
I dress like Mrs. Doubtfire, and you dress as my baby in a carriage. And I push you around, and then you would like stand up and shoot. We give you like a bonnet and like a pacifier.
Both keep the beards.
Yeah, we both keep the beards.
Not, I'll just have the bonnet and everything, but I'll have a cigar like Baby Huey. What's his name?
Baby Huey.
That would be terrifying.
I'd be so
you
scared.
in a diaper with like a fucking
That would
cigar.
scare people to death.
That's
That
just
would actually
because-
work.
Because now that you've lost weight, I think you'd even look more like a baby.
Absolutely.
You would look less like a man and more. I mean, more
like
like,
a
a
baby.
baby. You know.
But if I shave my beard, I look like
It would be
a middle-aged
you
baby.
dress as a baby with like a fucking like a cigar. What would your weapon be?
I like a samurai sword.
The thing is,
This
it's like
Pulp Fiction
people
it?
bring all these like. This is the one thing. There's only one weapon. The only weapon you should use is an automatic rifle. 'Cause,
Yes.
Like whatever you have, you can come out with like a sword or nunchucks, and some guy with a fucking
Gun.
automatic gun is just
Yeah.
gonna mow you down the whole
Oh,
time.
100%. Or you have or just an Uzi. You can Uzi.
Yeah, I think it would most likely be like it would either be like this would be America. It would either be nothing is going on in an area, or it would be like fucking a Ukrainian firefight, where it would just be like constant, like machine guns everywhere.
That's a good question. Like, where would that? I feel like New York. Would you have? I think you'd have sections in New York where nothing was going on. I think you had people who just like just go about their lives. Because that's a good thing about New York that you realize you're on the internet and you're in the rest of the country or whatever it is. But in New York, you can almost like trust apathy to like save the purge. Meaning,
Yeah.
like, there's a big portion of the 8 million people that just won't give a shit.
Yes.
Like that don't care. It's like the
Yeah.
same people who like. The people like who don't vote, but I don't know. I just think that people who've been wanting to be paramilitary for a long time, that's where you're going to run into a problem.
Totally.
Like people like Texas would just take over Austin and immediately.
Oh,
They would just
instantly.
annex Austin. They would just completely. Just fuck up
Austin would be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
and they'd be screwed.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think Rogan's comedy club would survive because he's like got Navy SEALs around him and shit. But like every other comedy club, Creek in the Cave would be fucked. Esther's Follies, like all those places would be done.
Well, dude, before you ask,
There would be no drag queens left alive in Texas.
No, not in Texas.
no way. I full on think I do have an outfit. I would wear. I did a commercial once where I wore a mechanic onesie.
Yeah.
Do you know how much I wish I could just wear those on a daily?
I'm wearing a onesie right now.
They're the best.
I love it, except when you have to go to the bathroom, and then it becomes
You
like
want to be a baby.
I want to be swaddled. I just want to be
wants
swaddled.
to too. I think
do.
it's like a mother, like an Oedipus thing, where you like want a woman to like breastfeed you and put you in diapers.
I don't know about that
no,
extreme.
he does.
Oh, he does. I'm sorry.
She's just outing me.
Well, that is a. Would you, do you think you could ever go? Say somebody was open to that and you went down that road. Would you do that as a fetish at some point? Where you?
Well,
Yes.
we almost did. I don't want to talk. I did buy adult diapers.
They're in that
but
fucking
then I had to buy. Yeah.
in that
But then I had
closet.
to buy. But I didn't do it. Okay, I didn't do it because I had to buy my mom adult diapers the same week, and I was like, all right, this is too dark. This is as dark as it
he
gets.
was like his fantasy. I was like, I'll pay for someone to put you in a diaper. Sean, they're
That's
in
what we
there.
call
This is why I
two real
love-
sex.
I love you. I love you so much that you just said that. That's amazing.
No, it's true.
Oh my god!
I can't believe I never told you that before.
And I scream at you about those diapers
I
at
also
least
wear
once a month
grandma
because they
panties
fall
sometimes.
out of
That's
the
just because they're comfortable. Like
Is
I
that
wear
true?
Okay,
old
let's-
lady
let's-
bloomers sometimes. I have a couple in it.
He
Well,
bought, and you know what the crazy thing is? He bought the same underwear I have. They're like Hanes from Target,
But they're
and he
giant.
got like the extra large, and I have like the small. And sometimes
They'll come
I will
out.
have
The
his.
material's the same,
like
so-
the laundry woman will fold mine in his. And
It was
then,
Let me explain. I was on the road.
She thinks it's a case for your underwear.
I knew the underwear. I knew the underwear. I knew the underwear that the CVS had was not going to work because it was like too front heavy, so my ass crack was going to show. So I got the panties.
when does it not show? By the way,
I got the panty. Well, Sean does that. Me and Sean are kings of the ass crack, but
because you guys wear your
Um,
jeans below. Like
Yeah, well, you have
everything.
to. I
And
wear
it
it below the
pushes
belly.
it.
My
I
belly.
want to fucking.
I see his ass crack at least once a day. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
you're
like
welcome. That's how I keep it
normal.
fresh.
When we
Little
first started
cleavage.
dating, I saw it and I was like, "Is this all right?" I'll go back in and fuck
Dude,
him.
you have. Oh my god, that's amazing. That
You know, and we always have this question, Sean,
Yeah.
at the end, which is, what happens after the events of this movie? And I think this is because the reason I ask this question because it totally ruins the horror movie. You know what I mean? Like once you like take away the mystery. So I think there's got to be like a real awkward Memorial Day block party in the neighborhood, right? It's like they all tried to kill each other, and now they all have to just live.
They all have to have a
It's
party.
like,
again.
it's like they do it like Compton style, where everybody has like pictures of the people who died on their shirts, like airbrushed on their shirt. That'd be so much more fun than what it probably was.
But they do kind of show it, right?
Well, what do they show? What
Well, they show like the cops arriving.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
so
but
what's the
here-
next
you
day?
mean like as far as like, hey, we got to clean up the bodies.
what would be
hey,
the next
Yeah,
scene
like
if
what
they
would be
kept
the
it going
next
on?
couple
Yeah.
days? Is well, they would be cleaning everything up.
people would just be going to memorials, and by that point it was just normal for them because it was what 10 years was it 10 years the purge was
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
Like it
Funeral
started
homes
what?
would love it. It would be like a funeral
It would
home
be like
season.
COVID. I'm sorry to say. Like,
be like
it
COVID.
would really.
This is
It's
what
like,
I
let's wrap
honestly.
this
It actually
up.
would be easier than COVID because there wouldn't be any hospitals. It would just be morgues and it'd be
just be dead.
It'd be dead bodies.
Honestly,
in
what I
trucks.
think it would be like Black Friday, but worse. Like it would just be all these people going to Targets and WalMarts and different places and trying to
interesting.
loot.
Black
and
Friday
everybody
kind of is
just
the
shooting-
purge.
Yeah, everybody just shooting each other
It
for
is.
supplies.
Because
Wait,
you think
or try to
about
get a
rich
PS5,
people,
you know?
but the rich people don't go to Black Friday. So they say, like, it's usually a class of folks that want to. I've gone that want to score a great deal on something, and then you
Yeah.
have the rich
Once,
people that
and I
are
was
like,
like,
I would
fuck
never
this.
wait online for a $2 laptop, you know, and it's like, but then there are people that will, and so that's kind of like.
Wait, but are you guys saying that would happen the day after?
No, we're saying like I'm
Oh,
saying
actual
similar.
purge.
I feel like the purge is Black Friday. I feel like Black Friday is very
Yeah, well,
similar.
see-
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I jumped around, but I was just thinking to myself, like, how would this actually play out if there was a purge?
There'd be tons of looting. There'd be looting everywhere.
Oh, God,
It'd be,
yeah.
You know, if you have that's immediate go to, and even whatever we got to go down
What-
that road.
what
where it's
would
like
you loot?
Explaining why, but
What would you loot?
I'd go to get a TV immediately.
Not food.
Oh no!
Hey, in this edition of people who wouldn't survive the purge,
I told you I'd be dead.
get a TV.
I'd get some
He
amazing.
survived from his bunker and goes to Best Buy to get a TV.
I'd
and
get
it's
a new
trampled.
iPhone.
That'd be a
I
great
get it.
Sony,
Yes.
Sony commercial. It's just like somebody like running through the purge to try to get like a flat screen.
Because here's the thing: it's like the purge is a day, so if you can find a way to get yourself, that's what
I would
be
leave
looted.
town. Couldn't you just go to another country for that one day? I would
that's
leave.
another thing that they probably maybe they put that in one of the movies. There's tons of people who fly out.
There's a ton of
But then
rich
think about
people.
what airline prices would be the week before
Because
the
they
purge.
know exactly.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
Yeah, purge flight deals on Expedia.
Also, Spirit Airlines flight is the purge normally. Every Spirit flight is the purge. It's just every man for
Have
himself.
you ever flown Spirit? You have. You
Yeah,
had to.
unfortunately,
I've flown it
never-
once in my life. I never will again.
I've never. Southwest is hard enough for me where you have to like pick your own seat. I mean, that feels like,
Yeah,
you know.
I would Southwest. I've never done, and
I don't
Spirit
like a
did once 'cause
general
of it-
admission to
I
my
only
plane.
did Spirit because it was bought for me for this gig, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I did it. I was like, I'm never doing that.
They
again.
bought it for $39, and
Yeah.
then it ended up costing $200 because
Yeah.
you like brought shoes on board. Do you know what I mean? Like they charge you for fucking everything.
Or you go to their hey, if this is beyond this size, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a too large, and you have to pay $75 to $100. And the size they give you is like the size of a purse, and you're trying to cram your
Yes,
suitcase.
I
into this
love
thing.
that.
It's
Frontier
so
does
annoying.
that too, I think. I've seen people like on TikTok wearing like backpacks under their jackets that they have like a little hunchback because they have one bag and they still need to take more clothes. Like, no, it's a whole system.
Smuggling stuff.
And maybe
in.
we're giving everyone too credit because everyone in America is fat. Maybe the purge would just be like writing a bunch of nasty shit online. That would be.
I mean,
just
I feel like
Well, I
that's
think
it now.
That's a good
though.
point.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think now, but I think it would get to that point. I think you're gonna
Yeah.
have it. It's so localized. Everybody's gonna call it. Everybody's so just you see that thing that Apple just put out. Like that's closer to that just happening, where it's like Ready Player One, and everybody's
Yeah.
just living online, and they're in their
Yes.
living rooms.
In
but
their
they're-
living rooms, but they're online
living and
in there.
working just on one of those headsets. Like that new. It's like the Apple Vision. It's their VR. Their VR headset.
Is it the glasses? Is
No,
it the
no,
thing?
no, no. They have a new one that look like ski goggles that are like it's the most advanced one of these things, and it's coming out next year, and it's $3,500. But they showed what people could do with it, and you could just live your life on it, or
It's so sad.
you just have your
And-
online experience on
Well,
these.
now,
iPhones.
now the
So-
global warming, there's going to be like no more national parks because everyone's going there on vacation now because they're cheaper, and now the parks are getting destroyed because of it. We're all just going to be like,
I was in
wearing these
Montana
VR
when they had
glasses.
that Yellowstone had that
Yes.
that thing, and a bunch of people couldn't go on to their trips in Yellowstone.
And there's a fucking super volcano underneath it. So
There's a what?
we don't even need a purge, guys.
No,
This Earth is going to
country's
purge
gonna-
us
yeah.
enough. But Sean,
Global
great
warming.
job. Thank you for doing the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for having me.
What can you promote, good sir?
Oh, I like to promote my podcast called The Brand New Jerks. I do it with super funny comedian Ray Zawadi.
Love Ray. Come see Sean, please.
And
Yes,
then
he's
look
hilarious.
up I'm at Shawnee Time on Instagram, and also I have at UFO Street on Twitter. My
No way.
Yeah, if you, well, no, that's.
Can
well,
that
do you
be
have
a-
the UFO? You don't have the UFO pod anymore, right? Or is it like
no,
sporadic?
I do UFO Street on TikTok and Twitter.
All right,
What is
well,
that? You're just doing
I go
videos?
up to people and ask them, we know UFOs are real. What do you think they are?
Yeah.
And on the streets, like a man on the street.
I mean, we know
Well,
they're
it's
real.
across,
Yeah, yeah.
guys. It's definitely there's definitely some UFO believers who listen to this podcast. So
The
please,
three of us sitting here. Why?
I
Absolutely.
mean, everybody at this
How do
point.
you
it's not,
not
even a weird
believe
thing.
that there's
Because I was like,
outside of here?
we're about to do an episode with Bobcat, and one of the questions I'm going to ask is like, what are the things you believe is real, like Bigfoot?
'Cause
But
we're doing
usually
Willow
I would put
Creek.
aliens with that, but I'm like, everyone knows they're real now. It's like,
It's and
You know?
there's a new there's a new article that Debrief did with the same authors as the 2017 New York Times article that talked about this. There's a whistleblower that's legit. The guy's legit. His name's in and everything, and about these reverse engineer programs that was being run in the Department of Defense that they just lied to Congress and they illegally ran these. They've
was
known
that
about craft for
UFOs, or is that
UFOs. Like the
they're
government,
using that technology?
they've been trying to reverse engineer it for 60 years. And so the Bob Lazar thing from '89 makes me, because of this article, makes me believe that 100%.
It is just hilarious that guy ran a whorehouse in the middle of all.
I think it was just that, but I think that's,
We had
but
to make
also
money somehow.
think about how many movies have they employ like mercenary psychopaths to do like military shit.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
wouldn't you get some wacky off the grid physicist to come and tell you what an alien craft does?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah. I didn't believe that totally, but now I'm like,
There's enough stuff. There's enough stuff.
I'm
Enough
in.
smoke.
I'm
I just saw
completely
that
in.
one about what happened in Brazil or whatever.
Yeah,
which
James
is
Fox.
insane.
A Moment of Contact.
Yeah, check that out. All right, folks. For all your UFO knowledge, please follow Sean. And until then, happy purge, everyone.
Happy
Happy
purge.
Purge. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed what you saw,
Like and subscribe.